Hello.
Hello, Miss Tina.
Hi.
I
How
think
are
that
you?
we're probably I think that we're probably a podcast that hasn't been browbeating every little small development and undevelopment and conjecture for the past 2 weeks. But I think we can kind of fill in some gaps, can't we?
Sure. I have no problem with just discussing, what we know, which is little, but still, it's interesting enough.
I think that we probably know some. I think that what we know is that a very consequential person has been arrested.
Yes, I agree.
And I don't think we know a lot about that just yet. But, I mean, I think that Doug Carter, whom a lot of us have respect for, has a lot of faith in this arrest.
Yeah.
What else do we know?
Well, he's asked for mercy, of all things, was the word he used. Mercy on the court to assign him a public defender. So we know, that's well within the 30 days for him to find representation. So that ball's going. I listened to the Murder Sheets podcast today and found it interesting that they said that they can confirm that it was not the wife or a brother. Someone had mentioned it was a brother, and supposedly he only has a sister, so there is no brother. But that basically the police went back to the beginning, back to the basics, and had a tip about him, or two, I forgot what they said exactly. And so they took a second look at him, and that's how it came about. So what else do you have? I'm trying to...
Well, I mean, exactly what you're saying is that we've heard this a couple of times before. And and Doug Carter says it. Back to the beginning. So they're gonna get to where they can go, and they're gonna back up, and they're gonna do it all again, and then it's gonna back up and do it again. They're gonna hire another 60 people, 70 people, and they're gonna back up and do it again. Go through every lead until they figure this out, right?
And see, that explains his little riddle of we switched gears because they backed up. They took it out of drive and they backed up to relook at everything. Like you just said. Makes sense now. At the time, it didn't.
Well, we all want to rush things along. We all want to, it's in life, you have to do that a bunch. I don't know about you, but I've had to go, wrong trail, back up a little bit a few times.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So if we back up, and we look at this guy, he was a guy that worked at a pharmacy, and we don't know what his schedule is there, but you can bet that place, if it's the only one open in town, that he probably had a liberal schedule. He could have been there that day, right?
Yeah.
There's no problem with that.
Left early. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he could have had an early schedule.
Yeah.
I know people that worked with our company that they make work, like early in the morning from 4 a.m. until whenever, and then they're off 4 or 5 hours, and then they even come back again the afternoon or the next day.
Yeah, for instance, my schedule, I get off at 2:30 every day, so I have the afternoons free.
Yeah, and there's certain days of the week that he may work on a Saturday as opposed to a Monday, So
yeah.
I don't think that there's a hard time putting this guy there.
Yeah, that was always my thing, putting your POI there.
Yeah.
That's where I would always get stuck. I could go by hearsay, but, you could see from, his wife's Facebook page that they frequented, that trail, that bridge. So it was something, very well known to them. So, very possible that's why he was out there. I mean, maybe he'd already gotten off work. Let's go with that. Or, you know, his day off.
Yeah.
You know, it just, in my mind, I'm trying to decide, was it just opportunity, or did maybe, like you and I discussed earlier, you know, did the girls, being girls, teenage girls, you know, say something that he didn't like, or was he doing something and they said something, you know, like, what are you doing, and laughed at him, whatever. I mean, just why would he do this? Why? I mean, why? That just...
He went way too far with it, but like you and I talked about, if he's an alcoholic and he's out there, he's drunk, he's out there walking, his day off, he's out there walking around drinking, he's peeing, and they catch him, they're laughing about it. We don't know. We don't know what the cops, L.E. knows. We have no idea, and they may not even know that part of it. Maybe they do. We don't know, you know.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened there.
Yeah, and I go back to, you know, like I told you earlier, you know, early on, you know, when Tobe was saying, you know, the community would be shocked and all that. I am shocked. I mean, I think a lot of people are, because I think you were saying earlier, you know, he's just regular Joe Schmo in the community. You would never think of this person.
Yeah, he's every man.
Yes.
He's every man. He looks like it. He looks like me. He looks like all my buddies. You know, we're all, you know, Caucasian dudes with slightly red hair. I mean, you know, and a beard that's got some gray in it. Come on. I mean, that's like every dude I know, you know. It's not some tattooed up dude like we all wanted it to be, you know. In my mind, it was like, you know, some dude with tattoos on his eyes who was bad. But this guy that laid under the radar for 5 years and 8 months, that's who this was, you know, to me.
I know.
If Doug Carter and Tobe Lesenby, or whatever his name is, and all of these detectives and the Marshal Service and the FBI, if they've all signed their name on it, they've never made an arrest ever until now. So, you know, and I understand. So to me, go ahead.
Well, to me, you know, when they made this, I mean, Doug was so confident in this. I mean, there's no way that they would have put these charges against this man unless they had concrete proof. And I think they do. Now, you know, that's where we all speculate. Is it, you know, you've heard the cat hair. They dug up the dead cat. But, you know, we still, at least I don't. I mean, I've heard, yes, Tobe said they had DNA. I've said they had DNA, but then others say, no, they didn't have, you know. So it's just speculation. But whatever they have, sealed the deal. I mean, it's, he's going to go down for this. I believe it's him. I mean, and that's just me, you know. But as far as other people, I don't know which way to go. I mean, what do you think?
Well, everybody wants to put the Kleins there because, number one, you know, there was this CSAM raid. And then there was Tony, who was off on Monday. That's the only reason why I put him there, because he was off on Monday. You know, we just talked about that. You know, you got to put a person there. And, you know, we could put him off work, but nobody could put him there. Nobody had it. This guy he was there. He was a mile away as the crow flies. You know?
Yes, and he put himself there. He put himself there. That's what got him looked at again, is he put himself there. But real quick, back to what you said with your Kagan and Tony thing. Carter just last week, you know, was being interviewed, and the person interviewing him asked, you know, about R.A., you know, Richard Allen and Kagan. Yeah. And he goes, these are two different investigations.
Yeah.
You know, they're two. He did, you know, they're two. But I think the whole river search, I think that was related to Kagan and his charges. Yeah. Because they were already on apparently, if they went back to the beginning, then, the way it sounds, it was like this summer they were back on to Richard Allen.
Yeah.
Which, was about the time with Kagan in the river search, but I don't know. And this is just my opinion. I don't necessarily know that they're related.
Well, my philosophy on this, and I put it out there, is like, and you've fed it into me. It's been this, this machine going back and forth. It's that, look here, dude. Here's the deal. It's like there were two sets of evil out there seeking those girls that day. Now, one set of evil was looking for something totally different. They were looking for whatever they were looking for. But I think in the grand scheme is that fortune holds for Doug and for all the investigative teams everywhere and for us is that those two evils took out each other. To me, I'm a guy that looks at black and white, good and evil, and I look at it and I think, you know what? There were two things out there going on. These girls probably were being stalked by Kagan. I don't doubt that, and I don't doubt that that guy RMA, whatever his name is. I don't think I don't doubt him already being out there, and I don't doubt that. We could talk about for a minute about his tendency to possibly even be a serial killer. I don't know, but it could have been something. What was that word you used a little bit ago about what happened that day? It was one word you used, fanatical, maybe, something that happened that day. But it could have been something more with him. Let's dig a little bit deeper with him. Everybody's talking about him being a possible serial killer. What do you think about that? Is that even cross your mind or what?
Yeah, I mean, when, after Delphi didn't get solved, a good year and a half, 2 years into it, I've always researched serial killers, and those are the hardest ones to catch. That's why there's so many active serial killers in the U.S., because they are hard to catch. They don't get caught. And for this crime to go this long and hardly little evidence, I mean, because if there was enough, they would have got this early in the beginning. So I guess I'm saying that for him, this to be his first time, murdering two little girls, it just seems difficult for me to accept that. In my mind, I think that this was not his first murder. I mean, and there are a couple other, murders, and we've talked about this, that could possibly be linked. He did live in the city, where this one female was murdered. He lived there at the time. I'm sorry, I take that back. He worked in the city she was from. Yeah. So, I mean,
now is this the hit and run thing that I've heard about? That they publicly blamed this guy on their website, the search for.
Yeah. No, her name is Jordan Sofer, I think is how you say the last name. She was 18 years old, but when you look at this girl, when you look her up, I mean, you would have thought she was 13 or 14 years old. And she'd went missing in, I think it was May 2006, and they didn't find her remains for quite a while. A mushroom hunter had found them, and it was in Wabash, Indiana. And he was up there at that time. I mean, I've seen that brought up, so I've kind of been looking into that. And of course, we go back to Evansdale. Was he there? I can't put him there, but I did see where they were talking about he lived in Illinois at one point, traveling with his job, and his wife stayed back here. So from Illinois to Iowa, that's like in the middle of Indiana, and driving from that to Illinois. So it's possible. Now, this is just all my talk. This is just all me, trying to put things together. But, he very well could be. I mean, how did he not get caught for this long,
Well, he obviously knew how to do something. He obviously he knew how to lay low. And obviously, I mean, he doesn't, we've seen pictures of him in the bar, everybody's seen it by now. But they've, you know, with the sketch behind him, we've seen him lying on the shelf at his work. You know, big smile, big belly. You know, he obviously has not been really bothered by all of this. So he's okay with blending in. He's okay with hiding in plain sight. You know.
Exactly. So, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, he's okay with that. And
serial killers. Yeah, serial killers, from what I've read and stuff, they stay close. You know, and even though he's in Delphi, he's still close. That's close to Wabash, where, you know, this other little girl was murdered. And, you know, when you were talking about the pictures, you know, on his wife's Facebook, you know, she had a picture of her daughter in a Libby and Abby tie-dye shirt after the murders, you know, and he's right there.
And on the bridge. And,
her picture. Yeah.
That's disturbing, you know, and I know, you know, it doesn't mean that mom, that his wife knew about all this, but, you know, he knew about it. And, again, ISP would not be arresting this guy. Carroll County would not be arrested. The Marshal Service and the FBI would not allow this to happen. He would not be arrested if there were not substantial amounts of evidence leading this guy there. It would not. No, all of us think of these fantastical things, you know, this, that, and the other, and that and the other. But he was there. Now, we don't know what happened. We don't know exactly what happened, but that murder charges that he received that you and I talked about earlier, this is an upgraded murder charge. This isn't just a regular murder charge. There was some other crime going on that they're charging him with. And that's complicated because you could it's easy to charge him with murder, but when you charge him with murder plus additional things, that's you got some substantial evidence, you know. In my mind, the prosecutors do. You know.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I mean, he's going down for this. We could go down this theory route if, you know, with those charges in Indiana, you know. I live here, so I know that in Indiana, if and everyone's heard this example used lately about this, if I'm in the car and waiting, you're going in and you're going to rob the bank, and you end up shooting the teller and come out, and I take off with you, we take off, we get caught, I'm going to jail too for murder. You know, so we could go on the theory where, was he the actual one who, you know, did murder those girls, or was he just part of another plan? You know, because that's something out there too. And again, that's just speculation. I lean a little more towards it was just him, you know, and
the lone wolf.
I mean, you kind of convinced me. Yeah, I mean, you kind of convinced me earlier, you know, when I was talking to you about, you know, how did he have time to, you know, stage this crime scene? You know, they said it was, you know, irrational type of thing, but we don't know what that was to them. This is small town USA. Maybe that really was weird for them, but it's not so weird once you hear it. You know what I mean? But
look here, in 15 minutes, I can walk. I'm a walker. If you're in a hurry and you're upset and you're stressed, and you've got two people you're trying to push and you have a gun pressed against their head, you can walk a quarter of a mile and kill somebody, two people, in 15 minutes. That's not that big of a deal. I mean, a quarter of a mile is not that far. I mean, that is not that big of a deal. And like now, kidnapping is a part of it, that number 2 murder that they. Now, if you start throwing in other things, it starts with an R and all kinds of stuff, then it gets more complicated. But in the rush, and we don't even know what that means, it could be all kinds of things. I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to have them out there for 4 hours to make all this happen. You know, if he's look at him. I mean, this guy's been outside. He's a hunter. He's outside all the time. He and his wife are all over Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and they're on the Appalachian Trail up through there. I mean, you don't have to be that sophisticated and complicated if you have a gun, to get people to do what you want to do. And he's raised daughters. His daughter is 28 years old now, from what I understand. So he's been around girls, guys down the hill. I mean, he knows how to work the system. He's dealt with it. You know, it's not that complicated. I don't think you have to have 28 people there. There's a lot of people out there that's like, you got to have 14 people on the bridge, 14 people, you know, all this stuff. And I'm like, no, you know, you don't have. Now, it could work like that. I'm not saying it didn't, but in terms of probabilities, you probably didn't have that amount, because if he stayed not getting caught for 5 years plus, probably wasn't that many miles involved, my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, and something else I've thought of, you know, too, you take more of a risk if you commit a crime with someone else of that person telling someone. And, you know, that's how you get caught, because the other person. And for him not to be caught this long, I tend to lean more towards it was just him. You know, because he could keep it quiet, and he got caught because he tried to give himself an alibi, you know, by speaking up that, hey, I was there. You know, and something I saw on one of the Facebook groups, and this is just hearsay, you know, was he the one who gave that second sketch? Now that was interesting.
That would be deep, because that would seriously be deflecting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think on, what is it, the 22nd, you know, when the judge will decide, you know, if they're going to unseal those. And our governor here, Governor Holcomb, he was on the news the other night, you know, basically saying we need to know. Like, he was even surprised that those documents were sealed and stuff. I just don't know what we need to know. You know, I know me as a human being, I'm like, I want to know who did this, who did that. But do I really need to know that? I would rather not know if it's going to, you know, make him get put away for what he deserves. You know, because if they give away too much, is that going to hurt the case, and then this fool get off of it? That's what's.
Well,
you know,
we
so
were
I
all
see
concerned about having the right lawyer, and then of course when that letter came out the other day, we're all like, okay, and then of course, you know, again going back to Doug, he was like, you know, it's going to come out when it needs to come out. But by God, we want it out now. I do. I want to see him. If this is the guy that put those little girls in their grave, by God, I want him hung up on the tree today. If he did it. But this is America, United States of America, and there's a judicial process here, and it's slow and it's cumbersome. Sometimes it takes 2 years to get justice, or 3 years, or 5 years, or 10. So and let's talk about him for a minute. This guy right here, he's not living a life of what we call the life of Riley right now. I mean, he's in trouble. I mean,
and the recorded call the other day that was posted, you know, people were questioning, was that real or not? But, you know, you did hear them come on towards the end of that and say, you know, that you had 1 minute left, you know, of that phone call. So to me, that made it, you know, this person really is in prison. And, you know, for him to talk about how, if this is true, what he said, that, you know, Richard Allen is laying in that cell pretending he's asleep for 3 days. And there's other prisoners hollering things that would happen to him, you know.
I'm going to get you, bitch. As soon as I get you, boy, you down, boy. Oh, I can assure you they are. If he's
so I know.
Girls are even suspect that they want him. All those guys out there that may be in there for whatever, just like with Jeffrey Dahmer or whoever else, whoever kills him, they get props forever. I killed Jeffrey Dahmer. You know, I killed the girl that killed those 2 little girls. Now, I may have done some bad shit in my life, but I killed the bitch who killed those 2 little girls. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it works now. I mean, he better sleep. while he can, because, and I just want, I hope no one, even, by us talking, I hope I've never said, or anyone else out there has ever said anything that, could get this man, to walk free, because he deserves whatever happens to him. That may be harsh, but, those little girls saw terror. I mean, they were so scared, and here he is laying in there pretending to be asleep.
He's been partying the last 5 years. He's been out, playing pool and drinking with his wife and partying and traveling. Yeah. And they never did ever get the opportunity to do. They never had a high school prom, dude. I mean, come on.
No.
I mean, they never did even get to experience any joys in life. And if he's the one who did that, I don't have much sympathy for him personally. Just my opinion, but anyway.
Yeah, no. I mean, I get it too. And here in Indiana, we do have the death penalty, and it does cost 10 times as more for the county to prosecute a death penalty case versus just a life in prison with no parole. But I mean, they can't protect him forever once he gets there.
But having a public defender, Carroll County is going to pay for it right now. I mean, all those people that have been searching for him, they're going to pay. And it's like to defend a case of a double murder, specifically if it's a capital case. I mean, that's going to be big for Carroll County, which is less than 20,000 people. I mean, that's going to be a lot of money.
Well, I've heard, good things, living here in Indiana about this judge that, she's not one of those who play around, so I think, this, when they picked her to take over, I think it's a good thing for the case. I just, seeing the Patties and Libby's mother and everything, they just need closure. I mean, I don't know that you really ever get closure, but they just need to be able to move on. And, I think they were just as shocked as everybody else by this guy being the one,
We still hadn't heard from Abby's mother, but what we've seen here, though, this is a topic
now she's
that
quiet.
She's very quiet.
Yeah. But
now we can't go too deep into this because it can be very controversial. But the battle in my mind of good and evil. This is a little touch of it. You have Doug Carter talks about it. Lesenby talks about it. Everybody of man, every person of faith and spirituality has talked about this. It's like this, that's evil. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I guess it's evil. That's what I would consider evil as a man of a little bit of faith. I'm not, I'm not all into everything, but if you can kill little girls, I mean, there's a way to walk away. I mean, you could have just said, I'm going to let them be, and you go your other way. But he didn't. Whoever this was, and we're assuming that it's Richard Matthew Allen. It could, until he's convicted, I can't say it's him. But, the bigger picture, though, is like, why? That's the thing, is that all of us, I guess that's why we all want these answers now. It's like, why did this sick bastard kill these girls? He could have just said, fucking bitches, and, if they did embarrass him, and just leave it for another day, but he didn't.
And like you said, evil, but we have to remember, good always wins. And those little girls are gonna get their justice, and in the end, they won. They're the good.
Well, not only will they bring down this killer by getting that video, but with Kagan, even though he may or may not be involved in this, I don't think he is. He may be. I don't know. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I know.
They took down an entire ring of pedo weirdos and a killer. So if they've done nothing else, they they brought good into the world. The evil
Yes,
that
they
was
did.
put upon them was tripled, multiplied exponentially, and put upon the evil, in my mind. So, I'm not calling them a sacrificial lamb, because I'd rather have those two little girls right now in college, in love, doing all the things that you and I did, getting their education, teaching other people, doing things. But, hey, you know what? If you got to go, you might as well take down a bunch of evil with you. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, they just don't realize, the good that they were and they are, because like you said, all that, the Anthony shots and all those guys tied to that, they're all going down,
The biggest ring in Indiana, and maybe even it's all over the world. Doug Carter said it was all over the world tied to that sick stuff, and they would have never known about it.
Absolutely,
had those girls
that's right.
been out there on that bridge that day, had not that killer taken. So if there's any consolation whatsoever, that's it. But no, that's no consolation to us parents, because I'm a parent, so are you, and I'd rather have my kids here than take down any kind of murder.
That's right.
Tina, be blessed, lady. I appreciate you spending time with me today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You have a good day, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, ma'am. Goodbye.
Right.